Welcome to Horror Movies with TNA. Each episode, we're going to pick a film, talk about it, and rate it. Word of warning, there will be spoilers. This week, we're talking about...
This is Austrian psychological horror Goodnight Mummy from 2014, and a little bit of 2022's remake.
Well, do it, or don't do it. Trials and tribulations of Wi-Fi connections. You don't need it. Give up all technology.
Hello, how's it going?
The recording quality, almost to the normal standard. Shit, I couldn't get it any better, I'm sorry. Take one. It's a monkey, but a monkey moose, isn't it? I've got a good idea for a new segment. It's called Substandard Conversation Corner. And we'll pick on an interesting topic each episode and have a chat about it. As a 50-something white male.
We're not yet.
What do you think about non-binary pronouns?
That's each to their own. Couldn't give a shit.
Intelligent Conversation Corner. That's a winner. I think so. Roaring success, isn't it? Well done. Let's move on. Are we going straight into it?
Yes.
The film?
I think we should.
There will be spoilers. Let's get straight into it. The film we're talking about today is 2014, Goodnight Mummy.
That's the American name for it, isn't it? Because otherwise it's German-Austrian, isn't it? So it's...
Yes.
Ixe.
Yes, IC. Directed by Veronica Franz and Severin Fiala. Apologies for any of these pronunciations as usual.
Yeah.
They also directed... I've not seen either of these films actually, although I think I did start watching The Lodge. There's The Lodge and Field Guide to Evil.
Well, Severin is the nephew to Veronica.
Oh, okay. So it's a family affair.
Well, yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it? It's like, your auntie saying, right, should we direct a film together?
You're basing it on your auntie and the fact you wouldn't direct a film with your auntie, I suppose, aren't you? Fact attack. I'm going to attack you with some facts. A comprehensive guide to Austrian horror. Sit back, buckle yourself in, and get ready for this. Comprehensive guide.
How long is this going to go on for?
I'm going to attack you with some facts. It's a fact attack. A fact attack. Funny games. That's the only one I really found out about, was it? I couldn't be asked to look at any of this. Suzanne Wiest plays Mommy, Die Mutter, and then the two boys, Elias and Lucas Schwartz. They're really good in it. That's it. The whole film centres around those three characters. There's a few passing
there's a
people,
couple of people, but and they don't tend to act very well at all. So.
Let's get straight into the storyline. I think that's it, really. We start off with the Von Trapps singing.
Yeah, we're sort of creepy old Austrian film singing.
Lullaby and Goodnight.
Yeah, it's a very strange sort of lullaby. But it's a creepy bit of footage. I mean, and it's a real bit of old footage, isn't it? It's not one they've done.
Yeah. Goodnacht. This is my German. Good night. I like the German language. It's quite efficient, isn't it? Quite sharp and angular. I like it. We start with the boys playing it. I mean, throughout the film, the two brothers are kind of fucking around all the way through the film, aren't they? Playing and smacking each other and generally acting quite natural, I thought, as brothers. Quite good. Anyway, we start them playing in a cornfield. Straight away, everything about the film, I think, looks quite good. I think it looks really nice. And the jumping on bouncy mud, did you like that?
Yeah, because it was obviously wet underneath and hard and crusty on the top, so it's like bouncing on jelly in a way.
Yeah, I mean, they're just messing around, running through fields and doing the normal kind of stuff, I suppose, kids that live out in the middle of nowhere would do. So they're kind of jumping around and just having a pretty good time, even to the point where they're playing a game where one of the brothers is floating on the river whilst the other brother is seeing how long they can stay under the river for. Dangerous game to play, but it's one thing they're doing. Kids, eh?
Yeah, it's a slow sort of atmospheric start. And the whole film is.
It's kind of like a
film, really.
A brooding kind of slow-paced film, and you're never quite sure how extreme or far it's going to go, which I suppose puts you on edge a bit.
Yeah, it's quite the opposite of any of the rest of the films we've been watching, really.
Well, yes, I did put that. I said it's a little more subtle than our usual fare, as we would normally fixate on a kind of in-your-face 70s, 80s horror. The twins return home. They kind of live in this minimalistic house in the middle of nowhere. We learn that their mum's been away. I think it suggests she's some kind of fading TV star and she's been off to have some cosmetic surgery. Can I ask you a question straight away?
No.
There's a twist in this film. I'm not going to talk about the twist until we get to the end. Did you work it out until the end?
No.
So you didn't work it out. So no, neither did I. I was just interested to know if you'd have worked it out, how it would have worked as a film.
I was thinking that the twist may be something to do with the mother herself.
Yes.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
You precursor this entire conversation with not just there will be spoilers, there'll be the fucking massive spoilers.
Yes.
So you really don't want to listen to any of it.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
make sure you've watched the film.
Yeah. In this particular case, either that or if you think you're never going to watch it, we'll tell you about it.
The boys seem quite nervous at first. The mum arrives home. She's kind of all bandaged, so her face is partially covered. She's kind of a little bit cross with them because they're covered in mud, so straight away she's kind of on their case. Then we switch to them kind of playing, what's that game where you've got post-its notes and you put it on your forehead? Hey, post-it bastard game. Don't know.
You have to guess well, normally it's a famous person, but they put a post-it and said, put mum on the
Yeah, she seemed a bit thick with it, I thought. Well, I think they try and describe to her, because she says, is it somebody famous? And they say, yeah, and that's when I think it suggests again that she's a TV star or a fading one. So anyway, maybe she doesn't, that's why she doesn't get it. I don't know. Look, listen. Anyway, so there's a bit where they're playing that. I put, she never gets it, Thicko. Elias has a glass case full of bugs. We're learning more and more about these boys all the way through. He's got a glass case full of cockroaches and...
Well, just cockroaches,
yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
And the mum starts to give them new rules. And this is where they start to think that maybe this isn't our mum, it's somebody else. Because she's being quite demanding and she's putting rules in straight away about she must have absolute quiet. If you need me, then you need to knock on my door because I'll be sleeping. No visitors. Keep the blinds closed. I don't want any sunlight. I don't want any animals. And they kind of break quite a lot of these rules throughout the film. She's different. It must be the operation. It's not like mum. And they've got these suspicions all kind of straight away, really.
Yeah, and that's where you think, well, is there a twist? Do you find out that maybe it isn't a mum? And there's a bit with a photo that we'll get to.
One thing as well throughout the film, and I might mention it throughout, is that the mum seems more annoyed with Lucas because she's, throughout the film, when you look back on it and you know the twist, it's more obvious because I have watched the film twice. She seems to be feeding Elias and not feeding Lucas and ignoring Lucas, but you think it's because he's probably the worst behaved boy and she's like punishing him. So you don't realise that when you're watching it the first time.
I put it in the top right hand corner as a note in general saying Elias is the fave boy.
Yes. He seems to be the favourite one, and Lucas is kind of out of favour with the mum, hence she's ignoring him. We're 20 minutes in, actually. One of the boys creeps out at night to spy on Mutter, applying cream to her face post-operation. It's a bit of a jumpy bit, because it's the bit where she's looking in the mirror, and he's watching from the doorway, and she suddenly spots him with a kind of blood-red eye in the mirror.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the only jump scare bits in the film, but it kind of quickly jolts him. So there's growing unease as the boys begin to feel more and more like mum is an alien.
Have you got to the hailstone bit where they're playing? Because that looked quite painful.
Oh, and this is actually the bit. Boys are out in the rain, the hailstones, big kind of pebbles.
Yeah, again, there's a lot of good bits where they've just captured the two kids playing.
Yeah,
at the beginning. Yeah. And there's a bit where they're just playing out and it's a massive hailstorm, but it's quite picturesque and atmospheric again.
Tomfoolery, good laugh, natural. And this is what I put. I sense that the director just said, fuck around for a bit, because they have a belching competition as well. Food delivery, the guy just wanders. They just wander in the house. The guy delivers loads of pizzas. And again, there's like weird bits of music and sounds. The score's quite good whenever mum's around to suggest she's a little bit peculiar. They found a cat, Leo. Remember the rule from before, no animals. Meow. MIAU is meow in German. I'm assuming it's meow. What do you think? Let's talk about it.
Well, it might not be, because there's different things for
Meow.
dogs barking in different languages. It's not.
Is that?
Yeah, it's not bark in certain ones. It's
Rough.
totally different. I don't know.
Grab.
Can't remember. It's something like flip. I don't fucking know. Look it up on Google.
They find this cat and they hide it in their bedroom, lock the door. She's not happy because she can't get in. She's not happy with them. What do you think about that?
This is a bit where the mum is a bit more mental. The trouble is, because there is that twist at the end, it puts you off the scent of the twist. But in this particular scene, she's acting incredibly over the top and annoyed and mental. And she doesn't even know what she's looking for. She's just saying, don't lock it, and then I'm going to search your entire room and go bloody mental about it. And you think,
I think their behaviour, as her behaviour becomes odd, their bad behaviour escalates, therefore making her act even more odd, and you don't realise whether it's out of kilter with how she'd been before. You don't know enough about how she was before, which is supposed why it works a little bit.
And obviously the entire film is from their point of view, which you kind of work out, well, at the end, in the end, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, when she finally gets in the room and she's searching around the room for things, because she's wondering why they locked the door, she finds a lighter and one of the boys cheekily replies, "We're going to burn some books," which she doesn't like. And then she holds him down in like a wrestling manoeuvre, which is again really odd. But again, it just kind of, the relationship between the boys and the mum becomes more fractious and kind of they are not happy. And then there's a dream. Yeah, now, this is right. So let's talk about the dream. So then we switch to a scene where the mum's walking in a forest and she strips down naked, and then the kind of camera pans around her, and when it gets to the front, it has that kind of effect which I've seen in countless films where the head's moving really fast.
Yeah, the Jacob's Ladder.
Yes,
head
that's
movement thing where I forget, they're probably doing a slower frame rate. So the person moves ahead quite quickly, but then they're doing a frame rate, so all you can see is a blur instead of
it's just blurred, isn't it?
Yeah, which obviously you realise is a dream, and there's a few bits that are obviously a dream later on, unless it was going to go supernatural. Yeah,
I mean, it's quite jarring, and one of the boys who's had the dream wakes up, and it's still in the still of the night. But then they wander into their mum's room, and they let a bug crawl into a
put a
mouth.
cockroach into a mouth, which is quite grim. And quite a good effect as well. I mean, even at the time I thought, well, this has got to be a dream, and by the time you get to the end, you go, obviously it fucking is.
Yeah.
It never happened. Because obviously the mum would wake up and think, why have I got a cockroach in there?
Why am I feed a big ugly bug to a sleeping mutter? In it goes. There you go. Now, BEUTE is Beut, which is German for booty. This is educational, insightful.
I've been trying to learn a bit of French, actually, over the last few days. Well, this app. But it's one of them ones where if you don't pay, you have to wait for a day to get... It's like Candy Crush in a way. You do like a test, and if you lose so many hearts, you have to wait before you can carry on. God almighty, this is awful. But like cat, it's eating or something. But then it says, right, now type it in. And I went, you what? Because you can choose the letters and the words. I don't say. But when I've got the words and it's just saying put them in the right order for what this sentence is, it's not that hard.
Entry level.
Yeah, but it got rock hard.
Build on it. Can you? So does it try and get you to pay to get energy back earlier? Yeah. Get spend it. The boys discover photos missing on the wall, probably of the dad, etc. I think, because I think her ex-husband, she's probably estranged with, there's lots of photos that have been took off the wall. And this is when they find a photo of someone with their mum looking almost like twins, and she's dressed the same. Yeah. Leading them to be even more certain that she's an imposter. We're following these boys on a journey of discovery. So we think we're almost following them as they uncover the truth, kind of.
Right, there's something in this. Cause
this is significant.
They're making a big deal out of it. Because you're thinking, is it all in their heads? And,
and it plays on it a little bit.
And then that bit goes, all right, so we're going to work something out and it's going to be revealed at the end.
We're going to work it out. There's a bit with we've already mentioned it slightly before. The boys then hide I think it's a walkie-talkie or a baby monitor. Something
it's like a baby
They hide
monitor.
it under the mum's bed so they're kind of listening on her. The cat goes missing, Leo, and they again suspect mutter of foul play.
Also, the mum makes mention of selling the house as well.
I think they find something on the internet, don't they, as well?
Yeah.
They sneak a peek and it they find that the house isn't for sale. They then find the cat dead. I think it was mum. And when they find the cat dead as well, all three of them, the cat and the two boys, all kind of lie almost in the same kind of fetal position on the floor in the basement. Which I thought looked kind of interesting and weird. They empty all the bugs out of their glass tank so they can replace it with the cat in... I assumed it was something like formaldehyde. It's something fucking flammable anyway to preserve the cat, like a nice centerpiece.
I think it's just.
It was a chemical anyway.
Well, yeah, I thought it was just water out.
No, they had like the plastic kind of chemical.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what it was, but then you find out that it is just fuel. Really,
very, very flammable. And actually, when they misbehave again, the mum goes and grabs all the bugs that they put in a jar. They took out of the tank, put it in a jar, and she goes and empties all of the bugs into the tank. And the boy...
that's because what they've done, they've put this dead cat...
in the centre of the
centre of the room,
table.
with a load of petrol or whatever, gas or whatever you want to call it. It's sitting in that. If I saw that as one of my kids, I'd go fucking mental.
Yeah, I would be pleased.
So she just gets all the bugs in the jars and they start stumping them in there, and they're not happy with that sort of thing.
And they shout, or Elias shouts, "We want our mum back. You're not our mum." Yeah, he actually says that to her face, and she slaps him. And then they ask for her to show them her birthmark, which will prove.
Yeah,
but I don't, and she doesn't. 9. I wasn't sure. Was it the birthmark that was on her face?
Yes, I think so.
Yes,
it's meant to be a birthmark on her face, which wipes off later on.
Yes.
Again,
because I think it's been removed as part of the cosmetic surgery, so then they think it's a fake mark.
Yeah, well,
it's an imposter. It's an alien, and again,
it's all pushing you to a certain way of thinking, isn't it?
Then Elias does the obvious thing when, you're upset. He goes and barricades his door and sharpens some bolts for his crossbow. And we've all been there. Yeah. We've all done it. They're more and more convinced she's an imposter anyway. They're even now taking turns to stay awake and guard the bedroom door. They're on shifts, split shifts. And then
this is a bit where didn't she lock him in? Which would be a very weird thing as well.
No. I'll tell you why. Because when they lock the door, she actually removes the key. So no. But I think they're guarding the door. But then, kind of an hour in almost, we have the dream sequence where one of the boys with I call it a box cutter blade or a Stanley blade, slices open the mum's belly and watch all the bugs crawling out.
I called it the creep show dream.
Yes, it reminded me of the
last segment,
the clean freak. Yeah, they take to trying to look and dress identical. I've noticed they started to cut their hair identical. I don't know. It's almost like so the mum can't tell them apart because she's treating Lucas poorly, not interacting with him, and we never see her feed him. So again, I don't know whether that was part of that. But anyway, they start dressing the same. Here we go. 50 minutes in, her bandages are off, and when she walks in the room and she reveals her new cosmetic face.
Yeah, she's got a shitload of makeup on as well.
Well, it almost feels like because she's kind of smiling. She walks into the room, she's smiling warmly, so you think, maybe this is going to be like a kind of fresh start. Mm. She's kind of trying to get the boys, and she's bought them a boomerang, and she hands over the boomerang to them, and they kind of, for a moment, they pause, and then they kind of barge past her.
Yeah, and then leg it out the door.
Run it out into the garden, yeah. And actually, they run off into the local town, which is deserted except for an accordion player who's a mentalist walking the streets playing an accordion. I put symbolism. Let's reflect. Does it mean anything?
What about the farmer that sees him while he's burning the field?
Yeah, he's burning his crops. which I think they do at the end of each
and he was kind of just telling him to go away.
Yeah,
generally, so they don't get burned.
Yeah, and then they run into the deserted town, and there's this accordion player shouting, playing his accordion, wandering the empty streets. Bit weird. It was odd.
You know something? I have no recollection
Yeah, I
of
think
that bit at all.
we've got an excuse because you ain't watched it for about 3 days, haven't you?
To be honest, that might be when I started to drift off a bit. That when they run off and that segment where they meet a priest in a bit. God, that was pointless.
Well,
I think that felt like filler for the sake of it because it does nothing. It doesn't build tension. It doesn't.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's doing that bit.
In a way,
especially when they just get taken back home.
Yeah, well, in a way, all of the side people and characters are superfluous to it.
Oh yeah,
you don't really need them.
But the St. John's ambulance or whatever the equivalent is.
Yeah, well,
they had a bit of tension. But
because you think that she might kind of yes, they might discover what's happening.
This bit's 10 minutes of pointlessness.
So the boys wander into the town, and as so many, this is deep. What I've written here. Would you just, as so many hypocritical people do in their time of need, they seek help from Defarter, God, him upstairs, and they seek out the local priest for help. First of all, they talk to a sexton who's sweet. I don't know what he is. He seems.
Yeah, he's a simpleton, isn't he?
He's a cretin.
I'm not sure you're allowed to say that, but
he's a sexton, through and through. Priest takes them so straight away.
Not in a sexual way.
Takes them straight home and dumps them.
Yeah.
What a shitty priest. Wasn't he?
No, he may have been in the background. Yeah.
Yes.
Or backstory or whatever.
Do you know what? Yeah, that's
twist.
a good point, actually. He may understand.
Especially, again, if he saw them and when fucking hell they are acting weird, then he probably would have gone, oh, fuck, so I need to get them home. See what I'm doing with it.
I like that. Beautifully put.
Yep.
Really eloquently put.
Yes.
An hour. So it's about an hour in. So let's talk about the final half an hour. This is when the boys tie Mutter down and start to torture her.
How did they get, remind me, how did they get to the point where they knock her out enough to tie her down and that? She kind of wakes up.
Because I think she takes sleep. She does a lot of sleep, and she may have just took some.
She may have took all a bit much. I think Mummy says it's all a bit much, and she has a cry, so maybe she takes something to relax her, and they take the opportunity while she's knocked out to be tied up on her own bed. And
this is where the
starts
film
to get grim.
Gets a bit grim because you just don't know how far the boys are going to go.
I mean, this is a good hour, and absolutely, really,
not much has happened.
It's not a horror film so far.
So this is where it takes a dark turn. The boys come. Will you support me with this? Because I'm trying a new language here. No, but I need your support on this. So constantly throughout this, the boys are asking questions like, "Are you my mother? Bist du meine Mutter?" Yeah. If we've got any German listeners, can you let me know how bad that was? Sorry. When she wakes up, the boys are wearing these scary masks. I mean, we saw one of them wearing one of these masks earlier in the film. They've got these kind of like homemade painted masks, which look kind of just a bit weird, scary. What ist unsere Mama? Where is our mum? That's the next thing they ask.
I'm guessing you remember this because they do repeat it
a few times.
Yes. I mean, a lot.
So it's what ist unsere Mama? Oh God! I'm sorry, everyone. So she's tied down. It's a bit tense, and it is.
She's fairly relaxed though. And what I was surprised at, rather than going screaming and going mental, she's sort of at first she's fairly relaxed. Later on, she isn't for quite good reasons. But
yes. And this was another bit where it tried to, in a quite obvious way, throw you off the scent, because once they've got her tied to the bed, they sneak into her room and they spot that she's been on a dating site, which is fine because she's now single, she's split up, and they pick up this fact that her eyes are brown, but now they're blue. So on the dating site, because as she defends herself, she says she was wearing coloured contact lenses, but it's just quite a clumsy way, I think, that bit, to try and make you think again it's not her.
I'm wondering whether I give it the right score, because there are
I
think it tries too hard to say, don't look this way, keep looking that way.
Well, but I think we're probably dwelling on them more in this than they are passing things.
It's not one. I don't. As nice as it looks, it is. It's fairly one note though.
No, yeah.
It's not. It's not. I mean, I didn't have a long think really.
No,
I thought I had a longer think after Chud.
Yeah, like what am I doing with my life?
Exactly. What time's work tomorrow?
There's a bit of conflict between the brothers actually, because I think Elias starts to feel a bit sorry. Well, you would. You've got your mum tied to the bed and you're kind of torturing her. So.
Yeah, Lucas is far more up for it, and Elias is going, this is possibly going a bit far.
Yes, quite rightly so. A bit uncomfortable. So we kind of have various bits of kind of torture of water in the face, then slaps in the face. Then, horribly, they burn her face with a magnifying glass and then tape up her mouth. And then there's an even worse bit when they decide to remove the tape.
No, it's super glue.
Super glue, yeah, that comes on later. We've got the bit with the Red Cross cheeky fuckers come wandering into the house. We've got this scene then where they've got these two Red Cross people collecting money in the house. She's upstairs with her mouth taped up and she's trying to kind of warn them or shout for help.
Is it super glued later then?
After this, yeah. This is just where it's taped up. The Red Cross are there. She's tied to the bed and she's kind of... We've got one of those scenes.
This bit, this is the favourite bit of the entire film, I thought, because...
Tension.
Like I said, because the Red Cross come and obviously it just collected for money. Which, again, it's a bit of a weird scene, really, as well, because they come in the house and they have a sit down.
They make themselves comfortable, don't
they?
Well,
the kids... Again, the kids answer the door and say, oh, yeah, my mum will be back in a bit, which is one of the stupidest things you could say. Because obviously they won't, and now you're going to make them wait in the house. But it was still tense because you think, well, the kids don't know any better and they didn't know what to say, so they've said, yeah, she'll be back in a minute and she'll get some money. So they're just sitting there going, and then eventually they find some money out of her purse and say, oh, have this.
Yes. So they managed to get the two Red Cross people out of the house. And then because the mum has managed to get the tape off her mouth and starts trying to shout for them, they then glue her mouth shut with super glue. Yeah, they're already down the road, the Red Cross, by this point. But yeah, this bit's a bit grim. I was surprised. Well, a kid holding their mum down and putting super glue across the lips. Yes. Although I don't think it would glue that quick, obviously. I mean, as an idea, and it's quite grim. Yeah. But then they realise that they've got to, and this is probably, they realise that they've then got to feed their mum with pizza, so they have to kind of cut a gap in the glue, and they inadvertently, and I didn't like this bit. I just thought, I mean, in the end, they just kind of catch her lip and. And then she just tears it all open as well. So there's all blood everywhere because she's. But they use like a Stanley kind of knife as well, don't they, to do it. To be honest, that again they could have CGI'd and they probably did the knife in. But again, it looked really good. Yes. But if I was the actress and there's a young child putting a Stanley knife in anywhere close to my gob, I'd say, do we get extra money for this? Well, that's Susanna Weist to be commended. The Red Cross scene is an hour and 20 in. Where were we? They've just cut a gap in the super glue. That horrible. So they can feed her a bit of pizza. What's Lucas's favourite song? They ask her to try and work out whether it's her or not. And she can't remember because she's stressed then anyway. But she does say Lullaby and Goodnight. She pisses herself, and then. Another horrible bit is when they're flossing her teeth. Oh Jesus! Yeah, that horrible. Well, you don't see it. No, but you see the flosser. This is a callback though, because I wondered. There's a bit where they're brushing the teeth, and you think this is okay. It's a mundane scene, and you're building it, but then they brush the teeth, then floss, and go. So this is not going anywhere. But then they call that back. Yes, they get floss. And they just floss the fuck out of her teeth. Floss the fucking fuck out of her. So yeah, she already got a bloody gob from her lips being all glued up and cut. And now her teeth or gums. This is, I mean, we had substandard conversation corner, but now we've got flossing. Floss facts. Can you do floss with the dancing? Well, everyone, I'm doing it. All the kids were doing it, weren't they? 100% accurate. What, they're not still doing it? Well, the kids... No, I think they've moved on to other piffle.
I've only just got it.
They untie it and she makes a run for it, and then they've put a tripwire outside and she slams her face on the floor, which thankfully cut away from that. I expected when it to come back to that, her face would be mashed, but actually it wasn't. But it kind of... She tripped.
Yeah, she tried. Yeah, I didn't know there was a tripwire.
I think they...
I thought she just tripped up like a twat.
No, I thought they'd done something. Maybe not. An hour and 25 minutes. She wakes up or comes to and find they've glued her eyes now as well, and have started a fire. And they've glued her hands to the floor.
Well, yeah, they've like super glued her to the floor now, haven't they?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know it was just her hands, but it probably is. I don't know. It doesn't seem
Well,
she can get
maybe it was the back of the legs as well. I don't know. And they've kind of put candles around her in the room, and they've still got the tank of flammable liquid on the
With
coffee
the dead
table
cat in
there.
it,
Yeah. She starts to plead with them, and it's here that we then get the reveal.
Yeah.
Because she says...
Literally in the last about 5 minutes.
Yes, Lucas will be alive. And she starts pleading with Lies. Lucas will be alive. I'll talk to him. I'll make him breakfast. It's not your fault he died. And so we're told that...
there's no flashback, is there?
No. I have read a bit online that suggests that he died, but I don't... That there was one theory that suggested at the beginning of the film he's alive, and when he's under the water in the river, that's the point in which he died. But I think he was throughout the film just not alive. I think he died prior to the film starting.
Yeah.
So, yes. Yeah. Then Elias asks his mum, what's Lucas doing? What is Lucas doing, Tony? Obviously, she can't see him because it's all he's imaginary. He's in Elias's head. But he's lighting the curtains.
Yeah, which it means that it's not Lucas, it's Elias is doing it.
Yes. She obviously can't answer. She's kind of... And everything goes up, including Mutter, which is a bit horrible as well because she's screaming because the tank full of chemical, flammable liquid...
Yeah, it goes all over.
Goes everywhere, goes over her, all over the floor, and obviously she goes up.
Like a Roman candle.
Like, yeah.
Which is very, bonfire night. Bonfire night here in the UK.
Yes.
Guy Fawkes night.
And as the fire service tackles the blaze, we see Mummy's spirit walk from the building where she finally joins both her boys, where they are at the end smiling at the camera. So as you see from a bit of a distance the house as they put the fire out, you can kind of, and I quite liked it because it was just, you could kind of see her walk out the house in the distance, and then she joined her boys because obviously Elias has gone up in the building as well.
He's died and she's died as well.
Yes, yeah. And they stand and look at the camera.
Yeah, it's a very good
and smile. And I quite like that, and they're kind of together once again. So
I mean, it's creepy as well. To be honest, it's not a nice ending, but
no.
But it's a good ending for an horror film, and there's no extra twist or anything bullshit like that. It is what it is. And
that's the end.
I mean, it's quite a slow film, but it doesn't feel any longer than it is, and it is quite a short film. If that makes sense. It's it's only an hour and a half, but and it was.
Is this your review?
Should I get into my review?
Well, I was just gonna.
Well, go on. Say someone else.
Let's talk about the twist, baby. That's what I wrote. Let's talk about the twist, baby.
Isn't that going to be part of the review?
Yeah, go on then.
Right,
you want to go first, do you? Go on.
Yeah, so I've written down here, and now it's been a week since I watched it, which is unusual for what I do. I've given it 8 out of 10.
Wow.
I know, and I've been slagging it off a bit, really, haven't I? And I've mainly put in brackets for the second half and the twist.
Yeah.
But would I sit through it again? Probably not.
Well, I can talk you through that because I sat through it.
I guess, but it's like people. Wouldn't watch The Sixth Sense again to work out. There's those bits. Now I get it. Why you couldn't see it. By the way, there's a spoiler. He's dead.
Well, it's interesting because I watched The Sixth Sense with my son. Him for the first time.
I'd watch it with someone that didn't.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you're watching The Sixth Sense again,
it's a bit
same with this film actually. You realise how blatantly obvious it is, and you're kind of looking at the person who's watching it with you, expecting them to realise straight away, and they never do. So it's done well.
I don't know about. Well, I've only seen both The Sixth Sense and this one, but I do think that maybe The Sixth Sense did it a bit better because there wasn't so many red herrings of it. In this one, it's even like Goodnight Mommy and ICIC as well. It's kind of saying there's something different about the mum here.
Yeah, it focuses you purely on the mum.
Yeah. And there's and like I say, I don't know whether we mentioned it, the photo bit. But she's then, when she's tied down and being...
Oh, when they question her over it, she says it's a friend and we always used to dress the same, or she used to dress the same as me.
Which is the shittest excuse ever. So you immediately go, right, she's talking shit, she's not your mum.
Yeah, I didn't think that.
And that's when I went, all right, well, we're done, because you mentioned that photo halfway through the film.
If I'm honest...
This is a twist. She actually is different.
And the thing with that bit is, it wasn't that well done. It was a bit clumsily done, and I don't think I'd have worked the twist out whether that bit had been in or not, so it was to its detriment, probably, yeah.
They laboured a bit too much, and I forget it.
Like we are.
Yeah. No, look, so I gave this 8 out of 10 immediately after I watched it.
You can't. You're not going to...
No, I'm not. No, fuck it. It's definitely... I mean, normally, it doesn't matter on the twist. I think with this, if you did go in knowing the twist, I don't think I'd bother.
There's 2 reasons why I enjoyed it the second time. It did... I found it quite interesting, the way they'd done it. And it's quite obvious when you see it for the second time, obviously. But it was quite interesting, and actually, it was a more comfortable watch, because on the first time, I thought it was going to get a lot worse than it did. Even though it was quite grim anyway,
yeah,
I thought they were going to end up like cutting her open or something like they did in The Dream or something, and try to see what was inside her or something. So, okay, so 8 out of 10.
First half was atmospheric, but I did think you've got to deliver on this, because otherwise, if it carries on like this, I'm done.
Okay, what did I say about it? I thought this ain't no 80s wacky tacky affair. This is, you'll like this quietly atmospheric, dark, brooding, unnerving. Put me on edge in the second half. Maybe not to everyone's taste. It kind of threatened to get worse. It looks really nice. Acted brilliantly.
Oh, the kids were brilliant.
Yes, very good.
I'm not sure about the mother.
I think she was perfectly good. I actually put, can it be watched again? And I put, yeah, because... only because I did, and I didn't. I was still kind of. I was more comfortable watching it the second time, and it was quite interesting to see how it managed to catch you out. Because I didn't really dwell on the photo and those bits that much. I dwelt more on the fact that she was ignoring the son. It was the little bits where her relationship with the dead son, and was the bits that were quite interesting in it, and how it was quite obvious. But yeah, it was I thought it was quite well done. The most horrifying thing about it that I read quite recently is they're talking about doing an American remake starring Naomi Watts.
If you see a remake and go...
You should always watch the original. Even if you don't like a foreign language subtitles, you should even just put the effort in. That's our recommendation. Horror recommendation of the week. This is another segment. Horror recommendation of the week.
Yeah.
Always persevere with the original.
I didn't have let the right one in though. I didn't do that.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I would still say with that, 100% watch the original.
You're right, yeah.
Always go for the original, persevere with it, even if you're not that keen on foreign language films. What do you think about that? I've introduced a load of flavour into this episode, haven't I?
I think we've gone off at one a bit. Yeah. There you go.
What do you mean?
Well...
That was ever so professional, though, wasn't it?
Yes. It was atmospheric and what? Oh, no. Is this going to be some quiz or something?
No, I'm doing... Hey, do you know what? With my review, I always make sure now I write a concise...
You've not said the fucking score, have you?
Oh, I gave it 7.5. Not as much as you. Yeah. 7.5. Episode for Goodnight Mommy. If you're listening to this and you haven't watched the film,
we fucked it.
You fucked it anyway. So you have fucked it.
Top tip, you fucked it.
Life hack, you fucked it. When recording our walkthrough and subsequent review of the 2014 film, we mentioned that the American version was imminent, and we talked at length about the futility in both making and watching remakes as a rule. But then we thought, no, for every Fog remake, there's a Thing remake, so let's give this latest attempt a chance. So here we have 2022's Matt Sobel's Goodnight, Mommy, which is just out on Amazon Prime. That's it.
The story is exactly the same.
This obviously has got Naomi Watts, queen of remakes, it seems. What do you think of it?
Right, I bullet pointed this because I could not be arsed. Mom is too nice in this one, where in the original, you weren't sure. She was a bit weird and not...
She was a bit standoffish, wasn't she?
Yes. You know, her parenting had something to be desired, so you weren't sure. Here, there's no real threat. Also, together with that, the kids are too fucking nice as well.
I thought they talked too much in it.
Yeah. I mean, the kids should be scary. The kid, together with the mum, and you're not sure whether she's a threat, but also... when the kids kick off in the original, they kick off like properly. It's a lot. It's almost and it's more accidental that they're being nasty, really. And even when they tie her up, they don't glue her mouth up. Yeah, there's no real threat of violence. There's
no sense of dread, is there? That it's going to get worse. Yeah. All the way through, it seemed very tame. I thought.
And we're going to talk about the dream sequence, where she turns into a black... She peels her own skin off and turns into a black demon.
I suppose I quite like the idea, the visual bit of her peeling her skin off, but then when it turned into quite a standard, like...
Yeah, she's crawling across the floor towards
the boy. Yeah, it didn't quite work.
No. But, the cockroaches and that, it wasn't great, but it's better than this.
More effective one.
It was trying to say, this is an horror film, by the way, in case you weren't sure.
Yeah, I don't think it quite holds together, really.
Like you said in the intro, sometimes we say the pointless, and in this particular case...
It's absolutely true.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And the American emotional cathartic reveal at the end, it was different. But at the end of the original, they hold hands and you realise they're joined. That they stare at the camera, just creepily looking.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, wasn't it? It had a weird feeling.
You didn't feel any better. There wasn't an epilogue to, this is better now. At least they're together. In the American one, you absolutely are meant to feel...
Yeah, there's some
because she's obviously, he's now seeing
that,
as well as his dead brother, he's seeing his dead mum, and you think, and it's all better now, and they're hugging. And it leaves it at that, and you think, but it's, really, is it all better? And...
I wasn't convinced. There was a bit of open-endedness in the American, because had he escaped or not? In the American one.
Yeah, well, that's one
that's
thing.
Still a little open-ended, which I thought was kind of, if there's anything...
Yeah, because in the original, you pretty were sure he's dead.
I think...
The old place was burning down and he was stuck in there.
And their spirits are joined back together. With this one, it kind of... You didn't know whether he'd escaped and then he was imagining his mum and brother back together. It was all still in his mind. Or whether he had actually died and their spirits were joined. That was okay.
But, I don't know. And what I've written down is the ending is more drawn out.
This was more melodramatic.
It's just slower. I mean, the original was quite slow, but at the end, it's not like it speeds up, but it becomes more horrible.
Well, interestingly, this is a slightly... this is 7 minutes shorter.
Oh, is it?
7 minutes shorter, but it felt longer, almost. I said it was kind of dumbed down and diluted.
That's very good, actually, because I thought it was, the essence of what made it scary and weird was lost. Gone.
You thought it, and the fact it showed the father at the beginning as well kind of almost weakened it as well. I don't think that quite worked either.
No. The bit that got me in the original was how far they took it. And it was like...
And the viewer not knowing how far it's going to go.
And when they, like I say, and when they tie her down, that's one thing. She pisses herself. Doesn't do that in this remake. Yeah, not that I need that, by the way. Not that perfect. But she's scared, and it's more severe. This feels like a PG-13 version of...
Yeah.
And without that dream sequence in this latest one, it would be just some kind of bloody drama of a boy having a secret friend. I don't know.
So that's 2022's Amazon Prime, Goodnight, Mummy. Let's give it a mark.
Oh, yeah, we go.
Give it a mark.
I think, now I'm thinking about it, I think I've overdone it, but I'm giving it 5 for some reason. I know. This is a good, well-made film. It's just not very good.
You're left thinking, why did they Even fucking bother. So I actually gave it 3.
Woo!
Just watch the original.
Yeah, I am flicking through my sad little book, and I did give Absurd 3. And I'm giving this 5. That's wrong, isn't it? Which one would I rather watch again?
Well, Absurd, you said made you physically ill.
No, I don't know about that. You know, I'm shaking that about. Sorry, it's not a 5. It's a 4.
It takes out all the bits that made the original good. At no point in this film was I on edge at all. No. It was safe. It's Amazon Prime. Good old Naomi Watts. She's done. I mean, this won't be the complete list, but she's done the King Kong remake. She did Funny Games. She did The Ring. She's done Goodnight, Mummy. I'm sure there's other ones. She's.
But the Funny Games, I have heard the remake's not too bad because it's almost shot for shot. But it's by the same director, so he kind of.
Oh, okay. So it's by the same person.
He's gone, you know. But I need to, you know. But I would, if I'm ever going to watch that, I'm going to watch the original.
Was the original? Did the original one have Barbara Streisand in it?
That's Funny Face, isn't it? Or
funny girl.
Funny Face. You got a funny face.
Barbara Streisand classic, Funny Face. Anyway, that was, we thought it might be nice just to put this quick review of the remake in anyway. So, thank you. Goodbye. I think that speaks volumes. What's it?
That's extra. That's a baby.
Hey, what? I read something the other day. They might be doing a remake of Extra. I'm sure I read it in the paper. Not in the paper. Front page.
In
Sky 24. We're outside the home of Harry Bromley Davenport. Bist du meine Mutter? And what ist unsere Mama? I'd love to... Look, I'm hoping our one listener's German. That's my own... I'm pinning all my hopes on that, and that they can let me know, educate me.
Thanks for listening.
Yes, and as always we say this, if anybody's got any suggestions out there, we welcome any feedback and horror movie suggestions. From...
Are you doing your radio voice now?
Absurd all the way through to Zeta.
Should do Zeta. Or Zeta.
Or his other film.
Or the remakes.
House with the Laughing Windows. Hey, everybody, thanks for your support. See you soon.